All right, so it is officially the day before the next update, and yesterday we got ourselves the first leak, which kind of seems like not a lot, but there actually is quite a bit of information in this picture, at least in my opinion. So we're gonna go over all of that in today's video, as we usually do. But before we go ahead and jump on over to the Discord, let's talk really quickly about the St. Patrick's event, also known as the Lucky Quest event. Keep in mind that this is going to be officially gone as of tomorrow, as soon as that update drops at 8 a.m. So if you haven't already, make sure that you guys are collecting, obviously, the really cool Lucky Savior title, the Shamrock Rod, which has the exclusive Clover mutation, which is technically bugged, but I mean, it will more than likely 100% be fixed this weekend, which I mean, saying more than likely and 100% in the same sentence makes absolutely no sense, but I'm pretty sure it will be. And of course, collecting all of the lucky bait that you can, so that way you can get yourself another limited mutation, being the Blarney. As an added bonus to all of my traders out there, make sure that you are collecting this fish. It is probably one of the coolest limited time fish that we've had in the game for quite some time now. So I really wouldn't be surprised if in the future these hold some type of value. Keep in mind, this is coming from a guy that does absolutely no trading whatsoever, so take that very lightly. But now, here we are inside of the Fish Leaks channel, my favorite channel by far, next to the update channel. And as you can see right here, yesterday at 4:12 p.m., Noah went ahead and posted this image right here that says, "What's better than teamwork and fishing?" Where we basically got this picture right here. And I feel like it's really important to sort of go over a couple of things here, because I feel like a lot of people saw this image and it was a little underwhelming, because in the surface, it doesn't really look like it provides a lot of information, but a lot of us are sort of not thinking inside of the picture, considering a lot of things have already been leaked in last week's update. I'm sure you guys are sort of putting one and one together right now, but looking over this really quickly, it just basically is a billboard that says fish caught 5 out of 100. Then underneath that, there's 3 individual boxes, which is a clear indication that there's going to probably be 3 rewards down here, which if I had to make a guess, it'll probably end up being like some bait, a bobber, as well as a rod, or maybe it'll be something different, like a title. Now, the second part of this is the part that a lot of people are sort of overlooking, and that's the color of this image. In the world of fish, there is very, very few places that are green. I know that that's kind of weird to say, considering there is, a lot of islands, there's a lot of grass, a lot of trees. We have places like, for example, Mush Grove, which is predominantly green, but we don't have a place that's glowing green like this. And I'm sure you guys are picking up what I'm putting down right now. Over the course of the last week, the hot topic has been these 3 badges that were mysteriously added. I want to say maybe like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. Now, at one point, we came to the conclusion that all of these badges were connected to the hunt. Fast forward a little bit of time, and now we also know that one of these badges is for sure more than likely going to be connected to a mega token. The unfortunate reality to that is that a lot of these mega tokens cannot be pretty much accomplished unless you've already done all of the other prior things. So I don't exactly know how this entire update is going to sort of work out, but specifically the one that I want to focus on right now is the Abyssal Echoes. If you notice right here, I'm going to sort of zoom in. The green for this badge is quite literally the exact green as this sign that's right over here. Obviously, it looks a little bit different because the circumstances, I'm sure, were a little bit different. Maybe one was nighttime, the other one was daytime. One thing is for sure is that the green looks completely different than what's inside of Brine Pool. This one over here is more of like a hazy kind of green, and realistically, the actual atmosphere itself is not green. It's just more or less like the pool itself. Don't get me wrong, there is sort of like a very light tint of green, but in no way is it comparable to the brightness that's going on right here. Either way, back on topic here. Over the course of the last couple of weeks, we've been sort of getting leaks about the Crypt. What's really interesting about this area is the fact that we've sort of seen it named in 2 different versions. We've seen it like the one that I showed you guys in my previous video, which was sent to me by someone where it says Crypt of the Green One. And then we've also seen it in my live stream, which this is actual footage from my live stream, where it was named as the Crypt. But here is the interesting part about it. In this image, which is the one that's actually not an image, it's a video, we can clearly see the bestiary, and there is a total of 8 limited fish. Not permanent fish, not exotic fish, not secret ones, none of that crazy stuff, just 8 limited fish. If we come back over to this image, we can actually see what one of those fish are called, which is a rot fin eel. I don't know exactly what bug was going on here that all of a sudden made it visible to see one of them. Unfortunately, there's no image attached to it. It is just the name. But I feel like at this point, you guys are sort of understanding what I'm getting to. I have a really strong feeling that this weekend, we're going to be getting a brand new area being the Crypt, which is going to have a limited time fish inside of it. And this is going to be an event that will more than likely lead up to the official release of the Cthulhu update. It isn't the first time that we've had something like this. I mean, Grand Reef was something that went on for roughly about 3 to 4 weeks. It is a bit of a different approach this time around where they sort of just waited until the final week to give us, I guess, like a lore buildup. But I do feel like this was information that a lot of people were kind of looking over and they didn't really put 2 and 2 together. Now, of course, to this story, there also is a second option, which is probably a little bit more heartbreaking and hopefully what isn't going to end up being the case, at least for my sake. And that's the fact that potentially the Crypt could be Mega Hunt related. If that's the case, it's kind of unfortunate because I, for example, have not done any of the badges, or I guess they're called tokens. I literally have not done a single one except for the fish one. So in that scenario, I might be cooked if that is the case. But realistically, I don't feel like they would just make an area with limited time fish just for that. Realistically, the people that are doing it, they have no care in the world to fish limited time fish. And if anything, they just want to get the badge done and over with so they can move on to the next game. Transitioning over here to the actual event page, nothing has changed whatsoever. If it does more than likely change, it'll be on Saturday, and we'll probably see it progressively change every single day leading up to Saturday. By that, I mean leading up to March 29th. In theory, by the end of this whole entire thing, as soon as March 29th comes around, this image should be fully visible. As of right now, 1.4 million people are interested in this update, which is give or take about the same amount as Mariana's Veil. Sort of interesting. I feel like we skyrocketed all the way to 1.1 million interested, and then it's just sort of been coasting ever since, which makes kind of sense. The last 3 weeks have been very, very rough for fish. That Moby update kind of felt like getting punched by Mike Tyson in his prime, which is honestly sort of unfortunate just for the simple fact that it really, in retrospect, was a good update, just wasn't really executed well, if that makes sense. Dude, I have no idea who this guy is, but Sellout Streamer is such a good name. But I also want to understand how they've pulled off 6,000 quests. That's absurd. Overall, man, I think things are going to start spicing up this weekend for the Cthulhu update for next weekend, which from what we've been told, it is going to be the biggest update that Fish has ever gotten. This kind of feels like an Apple release where like every single update is the biggest one that's ever going to happen, which to be fair, they do sort of push the bar every single time. Mariana's Veil was technically the biggest. Atlantis previously was the biggest. Northern Expedition, we don't talk about that one. Curious to hear in the comments what you guys think about this. Could we be seeing Crypt this weekend? I'm not gonna lie, man, I kind of hope that inside of that area, there's something very similar to like the Depth Serpent or like the Nessie, for example, where every certain amount of time, like a pool will spawn or like a random event will happen where we can actually fish up something that's fairly difficult, but that for the most part, it's kind of guaranteed. Since it is limited time, I feel like that would be really cool and sort of add an aspect of something that we have to chase after, at least for the next week as we prepare for Cthulhu. As per usual, I will be live tomorrow morning for the update. If for some reason anything spicy happens throughout the day today, I will also maybe be live, or I will also go ahead and do a follow-up video. Sorry that I've missed pretty much 2 days this week. I've been sort of battling with like an ear infection. It's been getting the most of me, but we're back, we're in motion, and I'm ready to get back on the grind, man. I will see you guys tomorrow morning as per usual. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and take care.